Building.
Yo, what's happening, everyone? This is going to be a 1v1 here. I'm going to be playing against this guy who's America, and I'm Great Britain.
New construction options.
And recently, Great Britain has rapidly become one of my most favorite allied factions. I mean, Great Britain.
Construction options.
I mean, I've never really truly understood how useful it is. I mean, obviously against America it is extremely useful, but even against players that are not America or Iraq, it is extremely useful because over the past few games I've played, so many people have tried to spy me, and it's so nice to have. And snipers, my snipers, whenever I was playing as Great Britain, have saved my ass so many times from getting spied. I mean, it's absolutely insane. So Great Britain, usually my go-to faction is Allies, or whenever I'm playing Allies, it's America. But I don't know. I'm just kind of hitting that kind of whole addiction, that whole sniper addiction. Just coming in with the IFE, taking out some units like a Boris, I've done, and then just getting the hell out of there. And it's so funny whenever that happens. So yeah, Great Britain here. Absolutely love that faction, and I'm definitely going to be playing that a little bit more often. And one faction I would really like to start getting good with is Korea, because my god, if you've ever played against a skilled Korean player, someone who knows how to play Korea, they can just wreak havoc, even if you're playing Allies or Soviet. Those damn Black Eagles are so annoying. So Korea is definitely something that I would need to learn how to play. But yeah, so anyways, so this guy is I have no idea who he is. Like most people that I do 1v1s with, I have no idea who they are. But for the most part, we're going with a pretty standard build, and with a pretty similar build too. He's got three miners. I have 3 miners. I've got some Grizzlies. He does too, but he's also getting some Rocketeers.
Construction complete.
But yeah, so my standard build, for 1v1s is usually just, one ore miner straight from the war factory, and then building a handful of Grizzly tanks while simultaneously building an ore refinery, so that I can go ahead and sell it, and so therefore I could have 3 quick ore miners. But here this guy has 5 already, so pretty crazy that he was able to get that many ore miners and still have roughly the same amount of tanks as I have. So I was pretty astonished by that. But here I'm going to be expanding here with another war factory, or not a war factory, but another ore refinery. So that should definitely help me bring in the cash.
Construction complete.
So here I go. I feel like I have enough tanks right now to kind of put a little bit of pressure on him. I've got my sniper ready so I could take out his dogs and his GIs. And what he should have done there is he should have deployed that pillbox a little bit later, just before his tanks would have engaged with my tanks. So he could get he could get some pot shots on my tanks. So at this point, I knew that this guy was America, so I started putting my more important buildings close together in a cluster, because I know that pair drops could seriously just ruin your day, and they could destroy so much if you don't see them in your base. So what I did for this particular game is to just put my more important buildings, like my ore purifier, which I will get pretty soon in my my lab, together, so that my sniper could cover them all in case he does try to drop in a sneaky paradrop. So here I'm getting out my first battle fortress, and purple, I believe he doesn't even have his battle fortress out yet. He just has some mirages. And he's getting quite a bit of them too, pretty fast, and it's because he has two war factories.
Training.
And this entire game, I only go with one war factory, and at some point, near the end of the game, I have over 20,000 credits.
Construction complete.
So, I'm still trying to get into this whole 1v1, get used to this whole situation, and eventually I'll get it down.
Unit ready.
But it's just that recently, for the past few months, I've been doing nothing but Sedona, but free-for-all Sedona.
Building.
Destination, Commander?
And but now I'm definitely going to start getting into the whole 1v1 train here,
Construction complete.
because
Unit ready.
and the whole reason I'm doing that is because I'm not honestly, I'm not a 1v1 person. I definitely like to play in a large group. Crates, no crates, whatever. Super weapons, no super weapons. I don't really care. I'm a pretty relaxed person when it comes to rules,
Unit ready.
to the rules of the game. But 1v1s, I'm definitely going to start trying to get better at, because at one point I was pretty good at it. I was really good at it, but then
Unit ready.
I just quit for some reason. I just quit and started playing Sedona.
Intensifying light trajectory.
For like 6 months. That's pretty much the only game. That's like the first match that I would look for as soon as I would hop on CNCnet. Sedona and only Sedona. If there wasn't, I would host my own game. But now I'm going to start hosting some 1v1s. And hopefully, I'll have some people who will kind of be roughly around my skill level, because that's pretty much the only way I'll personally get better.
Unit promoted. Unit ready.
But here, this guy's, at first, I thought he was going to be an easy win because he didn't have a single battle fortress to contend with my 2 battle fortresses. But
Unit ready.
I've quickly realized that mass prism tank is definitely the probably the most successful way to go into beating another allies player.
On hold.
Mass prism tank is just super efficient. Even though they have weak armor, they're very slow. Their range is incredible, and the more prisms you have, the more their damage stacks up against your tanks.
Unit ready.
And it's even it's incredibly dangerous for battle fortresses too, despite how heavy their armor is,
Unit ready.
or how strong their armor is, and the range with those guardian GIs. But here I'm just kind of picking apart some of his tanks one by one. Yeah, and that was a little bit of an error there. For a little while, I had my Q paused up, so I wasn't producing any tanks. So that's why my credits just skyrocketed. And that's one thing that that I've really kind of quickly recognized, that you kind of need to keep an eye out on how much cash you have at all times, so that you know what to how much to produce, and if you need to slow down a little bit or not, and if there's any structures they need to start selling so you can get some cash back. And I didn't do that this entire game. I got really lucky. I got really lucky because if I was getting out tanked, and if I lost my army, then it would have really sucked to know that I lost the game with 15,000 credits, knowing that I could have probably matched up my army with my opponent's army. So that's definitely a rule of thumb that I'm starting to keep in mind. So always keep whenever I play Sedona, free-for-all Sedona games, I do everything pretty much perfectly. I always know how much cash I have. I always scout pretty thoroughly. But on 1v1s, it's just a little bit different. So this guy's still paradropping his own base, even though I have sniper and I just keep sniping his GIs.
Unit ready.
And I was really surprised, if I was this guy, I would have tried at least once just to paradrop my base.
Unit lost.
It's worth a shot for sure. But there, things were getting pretty dangerous. Both of my battle fortresses got to half health, and I honestly think he probably should have gone for it, just to destroy both of my battle fortresses. Even if he lost the majority of his prisms, he still had both of his battle fortresses. So,
Unit ready.
it would have been a tough situation for me if I lost both of my battle fortresses.
New construction
So here, yeah,
options.
I have 20,000 credits right now.
Ready.
And I got pretty smart here. I definitely pressured this guy a bunch
Unit ready.
by putting up my Conyard pretty much directly in front of his base.
Unit ready.
So here he comes. This is the ultimate battle right here.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit promoted. Unit lost. Building.
So I got incredibly lucky that both of my battle fortresses survived. And on top of that, I got a fully promoted one.
Construction complete.
And a fully promoted battle fortress is something on a whole new level. You know, they have more armor, they're faster, they shoot faster, and they self heal.
Cancel.
So, you know, fighting off a fully promoted battle fortress
Conversion?
in a 1v1 where there's no crates is something that's very difficult to do.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
So here I thought I was going to be in a world of trouble
Unit lost.
because, you know, he had a bunch of Rocketeers and he pretty much destroyed all of my IVs.
Unit
Yeah, and I realized whenever I was rewatching this clip that it had some Rocketeers as well, so that was definitely a big mistake on my part. But here,
Unit
he got very distracted with his Rocketeers because of the message he was getting that his ore miners were under attack.
Unit ready.
But that was a good game.
Player defeated. You are victorious.